everyone, and welcome to this special episode. Today we are diving deep into the intersection of music production, culture, and community impact. This podcast is developed for the Prácticas Integrales course. For this project, I have chosen a genre that is deeply atmospheric, emotional, and powerful, the worship genre. Specifically, I will be working with the beautiful song called Broken Vessels.
Amazing grace, how sweet the
This is a song by Hillsong Worship. I will be working with it, but this isn't just about the recreating a song. It's about understanding its roots, its sonic landscape, and most importantly, its regional relevance and how we can use its production to transform our local communities. So let's get started. Now, let's talk about the history of the worship genre. If we go back about 70 years, most churches primarily sang traditional hymns accompanied by organs and formal chorus. However, modern contemporary worship originated from two distinct streams that eventually merged. The first stream began in 1946 in Canada, rooted in the Pentecostal movement, emphasizing that God's presence manifests through prolonged, spontaneous praise. The second stream emerged in California during the 1960s with the Jesus People movement, where young converts brought rock, folk, and pop music into the church. By 1980s and 90s, entities like Integrity Music, Delirious, and Hillsong helped professionalize and globalize this sound. To truly understand this genre, I analyzed several key references. My guiding tracks include classic anthems like Enciende una luz de Marcos Witt, or modern worship like Forever by Kerry Job. Or Babel by Un Corazón. Interestingly, the aesthetic extends beyond strictly religious music. I also referenced tracks like Pop by Ariana Grande. A Thousand Years by Christina Perri. And even Everything Goes On by Porter Robinson of League of Legends.
everything goes on.
And a lot of another music themes. Now you can ask me why. Because musically they share the exact same sonic DNA. So what is that sonic DNA? Musically, these modern expressions feature long, sustained notes in the form of pads or strings, and a wide dynamic range where soft moments are predominantly used for reflection. We hear subtle and constant drum fills alongside electric basses that remain generally static. except during massive dynamic swells. Vocals are delicate, often utilizing head voice or falsetto, backed by full chorus, over a simple 3 to 4 chord structure and great melodic line. When it comes to my aesthetic vision for the mix, my goal is to build a massive immersive atmosphere. From a creative mixing perspective, like setups consistently respect the physical placement of musicians on stage, providing realistic painting. The bass and kick drum remain strictly centered to the anchor to the track, and other hand. The pads, which are essential to this genre, are arbitrarily superimposed across the left and right channels, painted 100% L and 100% R, to create immersive spatiality. I envision prominent reverb and delay effects applied to the electric guitars, which usually guide the melody. Reverb is heavily utilized across nearly all instruments and vocals to generate a vast auditory space, creative and elevated grand atmosphere. It functions as sensory elevation designed to allow deep internal expressions to flow. And remember, we achieve this feeling organically, relying purely on creative textures and balances, rather than getting bogged down in specific hardware settings. Beyond the mix, we must ask ourselves, how does this music touch reality? This brings me to my regional social diagnosis. As a lifelong member of the church and a passionate musician, I have directly witnessed how live sound can either act as a key element, enable an audience to deeply connect, or become a deterrent if it is poorly configured or underfunded. In my local territory, many independent worship artists and community bands have incredible talent, but suffer from a severe lack of technical training, visibility, and resources. So how will my musical production serve as a vehicle for social transformation? My proposal is to use this production as pedagogical standard to visit local spaces, church by church, supporting each worship team through musical workshops as producer. I will guide them on how to maximize their existing sound system and mix their live setups specifically and effectively. To address the financial gap, I propose organizing a series of inclusive benefit concerts. The funds raised will distributed equitably to support strategic sound systems investments for local bands in need. Furthermore, the initiative is not exclusively for Christian spaces. The broader vision includes a venue that utilizes sound reinforcements such as schools with disastrous acoustic spaces, event halls, and community centers. The positive impact I expect for our local stakeholders, the musicians, community leaders, and audiences is a professionalized load easing, democratized access to audio knowledge, and a stronger, unified community built around the power of well-produced music. So, thank you for tuning into this journey through sound, history, and social impact. Until next time, see you later, my friends.